Up and make sure everything is working. It is working. It seems to be working. Hey, April, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. I hear you loud and clear.
No pressure. Here we are. We're starting just a few seconds early, getting things going because there's a lot of people signed up today, so it's going to take a little while for everybody to get in the room and to get things going. But we are some kind of happy to have you join us today. Steve Dotto here. How the heck are you doing this fine day? April, how excited are you about this?
I'm so excited about today. We've been working hard to get here for this training, so I'm really excited.
This webinar is probably 10 years in the making, but realistically, it's about 8 months. We started on it in February. We started kind of planning that we were going to be building our own community and to start talking and building the gray wave, which is what we're going to be talking about in a few moments. So this, to me, I'm a tad anxious that things are going to go together, that things are going to go well. So we've got a ton of people signed up. We had about just under 2,000 people signed up for the webinar today, which is pretty large. And so there's going to be well over in the neighborhood of 500 of you, maybe 600 in the room. We're already at 500 people in the room. So we're going to do the best we can to stay on top of the chat and answer your questions as we go along. But those of you that are used to joining us for Webinar Wednesday, we won't have quite the personal touch that we normally have, as there's just so many of you, but such an important message. And it's really just I think a big day for those of us who really have a little bit of this color hair and are interested in online business, teaching baby boomers and Gen X how to really build a massively successful online business is what we are all about today. So let me give you guys a little bit of an idea of what's going to happen. The webinar today is a little bit on the longer side. It's running an hour 15, and when I've been rehearsing it, and I actually rehearsed this, we actually prepared for those of you who have participated in Webinar Wednesday, a slightly different format, much more of a classic webinar format today. No pre-record, everything is live. It's Steve presenting live and April supporting us through the whole thing. So it is a little bit different from that side. So the time will flex a bit, but it's going to be about an hour and 15 of content. And then we'll be taking questions and answers. And of course, we'll be talking about the launch of our new community as well at the end. So so we've got a lot to cover. If you have to drop out for any reason, if you have technical issues, of course, April will do the best to solve the technical issues in the chat. But if you do have issues, or if you have to run away for any reason, or you can't catch the whole webinar, we will be sending out a replay as soon as we have a chance to upload it when we are done. I'm recording the webinar on a separate screen right now, so that if you do view the replay, you'll be able to see the chat. So much of the chat, so many of the questions, the comments in the chat are so valuable for this sort of a training. I want to make sure you have that. So we're recording it, so it'll take me a little bit of time to get it all uploaded. But within maybe 2 or 3 hours after the webinar is over, you'll get an email with the webinar replay, which we'll have available for you for 48 hours. And as I say, we'll do the best job we can answering your questions at the end. But there's a lot of you online, so if we can't get to all your questions, you can always drop us a note and allow us to answer that through email. And all of those emails should go to info@dottotech.com if you have questions. But hopefully we'll be able to answer every question. We've worked so hard to cover every aspect of what I'm going to be trying to teach today that hopefully we covered everything, but there's always going to be some gaps. Have I left anything out, April? Do I have anything else that I need to talk about?
No, I don't think so. If you have any tech issues, just one of the best things to do is kind of refresh, and then if not, you may want to log back on and try a different browser. And I will look for that in the chat, but just to give you a heads up.
And I'm not going to take time to welcome everybody in the room that we see, but I see you in from all over the freaking world. So welcome, one and all. How many people do we have now? We've got we've never had this many on a webinar in our life, April. Did you see the number?
I did. It's great.
650 people.
We have our early morning Australia friends, the other side of the world. So thank you all for your time today. We're really excited, and it's we have
Thank you, Allison. No pressure.
Home country of Canada. We got a lot of Canadians today. We have some East Coasters, some West Coasters, some UK friends. 1:30 in the morning in India. Oh my gosh. Thank you.
Some of our patrons are here as well. To all of our patrons, a great big hello. All right. Because this is long, let's get going. Now, just a technical aside, for those of you into the technology, I'm going to be using a few different pieces than we normally don't do within Webinar Wednesday, for example. is we have a virtual camera set up, and we're going to be running a slideshow. We'll be doing some picture-in-picture in the slideshow, and I'm going to be live switching. So if I screw it up, cut me some slack. But hopefully it's going to make for a very engaging training today as we go through it. So April, I'll get you to head into the chat room, and I'll
see you on the other side
and get us going on today's main topic on the content. Are you ready? All right. And there we have it. All right, folks. Today, as promised, it's the longest title in the history of webinars. We're going to be going over the 4 keys to building an online business that attracts followers, engagement, customers without getting confused and overwhelmed. And I need to start with this because I want to make sure that we're not excluding anybody. We are focused today on baby boomers and Gen X. And if you're not in that demographic, you are more than welcome. But this training, the perspective of this training is aimed at those generations. You know, when I was a young kid, I looked at people my age, and I'm 61 now, and I thought that those people were at the end of the road. They were just playing out the clock. Well, now that I've reached that age, I realize that is not me, and I know that is not you. And anyone who assumes that about us is in for a rude awakening. So let us get started. This is for you today if you've got a little bit of gray, if you've been around the block and you've got a few years of wisdom behind you. It's for you if you're thinking about how to make money online, but you're not exactly sure where to start or how to pull all of the pieces together. Everything may seem a little bit confusing and overwhelming in the online business world. That's understandable. Or possibly you've already been trying to make money online with an online business, but despite your best efforts, you still find yourself struggling to make it all work. If that is you, then you are in the right place. And this is going to be the perfect training for you. Now, by the end of the training here, my goal is for you to show you how to transform your business, your experience, into opportunities that are going to become your biggest asset in building a successful online business. And to do that, I'm going to share with you the 4 steps that'll turn your knowledge into an audience building machine and produce revenue month after month, even if you don't yet know exactly where to start. You're going to discover exactly how to create content that generates engagement and customers, all while creating financial security and allowing you to live your life with purpose. But here is my biggest promise to you. I'm going to share with you the 4 keys to my success in the online business world. So not only will you know how to remain relevant and influential where it matters, but you'll also have a thriving online business, even if you're right now confused about the technology or haven't figured out how to make online sales yet. You will leave today's webinar with some new insights, awareness, and perspective, and I trust with a fire burning in your belly. Now, I don't know exactly why you're all here today with me. You're here for a variety of reasons. Some of you are thinking about just starting an online business. Maybe it's because you're now starting to worry about job security. Perhaps you're starting to see the specter of ageism creeping into your relationships. New prospects and opportunities are becoming few and far between, so color you curious. You're not sure where to begin, and if we're 100% honest, you're not yet convinced that this is really for you. Maybe you've already tried to build an online business. You've taken the courses, you've learned how to use tools, you've created content, and you've spent the time, days, weeks, months, even longer, struggling, but things still have not taken off for you. You've not figured it out yet, and it is so frustrating. You probably look at your peers who are running online businesses with a bit of envy, if the truth be told, and you ask yourself, what do they know that you don't know? Maybe you're feeling like this online world, while fascinating, is incredibly intimidating, confusing, and overwhelming. You are intrigued, but you're not sure that it's not all a pipe dream. So you're here kind of as a spectator. You're not really a player, not yet. Well, we are all here to learn, but I suspect that most of us, despite all of the YouTube videos and blog posts and podcasts and the coaches and experts who all seem to have it together, at the end of the day, for most of us, a successful online business feels a little bit like a dream. It's so close, but just beyond our grasp, just beyond the veil. I'm going to try and pull that veil back for you. So we'll start with a question. Are you satisfied with the status quo? Are you happy for things to progress along the same path that you've been following? And I suspect if you're here, the answer is no. You're looking for a better future, for better prospects. You're looking to become a more influential you. And you hope that creating an online business can help by allowing you to remain relevant and impactful to your community and serve your financial needs. But you're not sure yet if it's real, and maybe you're worried that you're being a bit naive, even hoping for it. But as each day passes, you can't shake that feeling that opportunity may be slipping by. And you feel more and more stuck, more and more like a spectator on the sidelines, but not yet in the game. The feeling, of course, right now with COVID is exacerbated with the current state of the world and what we're all experiencing right now. But I'm going to promise you one thing, that this is real. There's no magic to what we do, those of us who have online businesses. And what I'm going to share with you, I've done, and many others have done successfully as well. And I think for most of us, until we reach the point of clarity, we don't really understand where we fit and what a business looks like. So my goal today, my overarching goal, is to give you some clarity into what online businesses look like and how they work and how they make money, clarity on where you fit in and what value you can bring, clarity to the fact that you can actually do it, that you can build an online business. And I'm going to do that by showing you right off the top that there are 4 keys to building your online business. Once you understand those 4 keys, you're going to know exactly what to sell and how to sell it successfully without feeling sleazy or overwhelmed. You will be able to start attracting and connecting with your ideal customers. You'll understand what it takes to build an online business, which will provide you with security, relevance, and income. And most importantly, you'll have a path. You'll understand the route to a profitable online business that you can use to secure your future. Now, most of you know me. I'm sure this is a bit of an inside crowd, but I'm going to share with you just a little bit of my origin story to make sure we're all on the same page. For the better part of 2 decades, I hosted and produced several nationally syndicated TV shows, a radio call-in show, and I wrote a nationally syndicated newspaper column. I was in all of the traditional media channels teaching millions of Canadians about technology. In 2010, I wrapped up production on the TV show. The internet was taking over the do-it-yourself and how-to space, and it was time for a change. Eventually, after a brief hiatus, I converted my brand from TV to YouTube, and we built a successful channel. We have well over 315,000 YouTube subscribers now, and it continues to grow each week, and our videos have been viewed over 26 million times. We also launched a podcast called Gray Matters, which is focused, as is this webinar, on baby boomers and Gen X and helping you to remain relevant in the digital age. And until the pandemic shut things down, I was a regular on the speaking circuit, stages like Social Media Marketing World and Vid Summit and Video Marketing World, as well as numerous keynotes here in my native Canada. One of the things I'm really proud of, however, is our online communities, where we've supported and helped thousands of people. And I love sharing this statistic with you. I looked in our learning management tool this morning, and we have had over 23,000 students take our online courses. We've helped a lot of people understand and use technology. Now, you might think it was natural for me to take the leap into the online space. You might think that my transition from traditional media to online was pretty easy, and I thought it would be as well. After all, I had a pretty impressive toolkit. I had a following baked in already. I'm good at making content, and I know how to use all of the tools. And it frankly should have been a walk in the park, but it wasn't. In fact, when I stopped doing my TV show, I was brimming with confidence because of nearly 2 decades of success in a very competitive marketplace. I wrapped up the show without a lot of thought about the future because I believed in myself and my abilities to make just about any idea I had work. But I should have known better. I should have planned better, because while I had a lot to offer, I also had a lot to learn, and my ego got in the way. For over 4 years, it seemed like every step I took was in the wrong direction because I was doing things the old way, the way that had worked for me in the past. I didn't understand the new way, the online way. I didn't know what I should share or how to attract an audience. The online world, it turned out, is really different from television. When I started to publish content, it was haphazard. I didn't understand what worked, and I had no one to teach me. I started to second guess what I should do, and I was overwhelmed by the tools to use and all of the possibilities. I ended up lost, confused, and my confidence eroded, and something that was completely foreign to me, my energy ended up missing in action. It was like, where is that Steve I used to know? Where's the Steve that I trust? And to be honest, it was a hard lesson. I sank into the first real depression I've ever known, and I blamed myself for underachieving. Now, eventually I made it through, and I was lucky enough to discover a few mentors to help me on the path. They opened my eyes, and eventually I made progress. But it wasn't easy, and it doesn't have to be that hard. So why am I sharing this with you? And what does it have to do with you? Because we're all on a path, and I want to encourage you. I believe with my whole heart that there has never been a better opportunity that there is now. This group, with your experience and talent, is perfectly poised to seize this opportunity. But there's no reason for you to have to slog through years of struggle. You don't need to learn the hard lesson, the lessons the hard way, the way I learned. I've already done it for you. So allow me to be a guide and to point you in the right direction. What I'm about to share with you is not just my theory. These are hard-won lessons that I've struggled through on a deeply personal level. What I'm going to share with you are the keys that you can use to turn your dreams of an online business into a reality. These are the keys I'm going to go through. Embracing change, leveraging your experience, building a system, and recognizing that you don't need to do it alone, that it takes a village to build a business. And we will start with embracing the change. And, in so many ways, we are all strangers in a strange land. I mean, the massive changes that technology has wrought upon us are just enormous. Our generations are the first to have change thrust upon them the way that we have faced it. Our parents, think about our parents for a moment. They grew up in a world where they felt that they would know everything that they needed to know and learn everything that they needed to learn by the time they were in their early 40s. They just kind of packed it in as far as personal development at that point, did they not? However, we have to contend with relentless change. And who can blame us if we find it a bit overwhelming? But if you're going to build a modern online business, you better come to terms with endless change and lifelong learning. So let's take a few minutes here and let's take stock of things the way it is. And we can start with a little bit of introspection. When I look at the online world, I see three stages or three different types of people who are in online business. Now, I've spent time in each phase, and probably you will as well. Some of us get stuck in the different stages, and those of us who do get stuck often never get to where we want to be. So the first stage, you'll have to excuse my analogy, but it piqued my humor bone, I guess. We're going to call our three stages Larry, Curly, and Mo. Larry's are spectators. I was referring to them off the top today, how we're spectators looking at the online world. Always looking, never doing, daydreaming about what might be. Now, I don't know why some of us get stuck looking and never do. Maybe it's because they need to know everything in advance and understand the entire process because they're terrified of making a mistake. But regardless of the reason that they're stuck, the fact remains they are stuck and they remain spectators and never achieve what they're looking for. Then there are Curlies, who are certainly not spectators. They're doers. And they take the courses, they do the training, they build the businesses, they take the hard steps, but they struggle to find success. And I'm going to tell you, I was a Curly for a very long time. It is such a frustrating place to be because here's what happens. Because they're trying so hard, investing time, energy, and money into their business, Curlies create pressure to succeed. And as that pressure builds, they begin to get overwhelmed and confused, which just makes things worse. And then doubt begins to creep in, and Curlies begin to question their dream, and they question their motivation, even themselves. This is a dangerous phase. Sometimes they start looking for technical answers, they change tools, they take more courses, they hire staff to fill in their gaps, or they look for mechanical reasons why they're not gaining traction. But too often, they end up coming down hard on themselves and decide that if you would just work harder, you would succeed. So they double down trying on their effort, and all they do is end up trying harder on the same thing that failed. As I said, frustrating, I know, because this is exactly where I found myself for years. And I know a lot of you are sitting at home right now nodding. You think that if you work harder, if you just tried harder, you would succeed. In fact, when I was in this phase, I was making money, but I was not nearly making the amount commensurate with the effort I was putting in. I wasn't making what I was worth. I hope you can relate. And then there are the Mo's. Mo's got it all together. Mo's seem to make it easy. Their tribes are always growing, and so is their financial success. They've built a platform where people respect them, honor them, and they get a ton of value from them. And most importantly, Mo's make money. As a result, they not only have a successful and profitable online business, but they have consistent revenue, security, they have relevance, they're making a difference in their community's life, and they have work-life balance. So once I realized that we all go through these three stages, I started to ask myself, what are Mo's doing differently? How do they progress through those early stages and get to the place that they want to be? What made the difference? Is there one key, like in my own life, is there one key that propelled me out of the Mo stage, out of the curly stage into the Mo stage? Now, the answer sadly is no. There is not just one thing. But I realized that it all began with overcoming a few misconceptions. Frankly, I know from personal perspective, I needed an attitude adjustment. And I'm going to start that with a warning. You know, we've all here spent, 30, 40, 50 more years learning to do business a certain way, the old way. But online business has revolutionized a lot of the old best practices as far as business is concerned. I don't know if you can relate. I'm sure you can. I can remember when I started my first business, the first thing I did was I went out and I got a business plan. I started to work on a business plan. Did you ever do one? Hours and hours on that damn business plan. You used to be able to buy them as self-help books, the kind of these do-it-yourself kits that had these forms that you fill in. I think you can still get them. And I can actually remember taking a night school course on how to write a business plan. We used to joke that a year after you started the business, if you look back on the plan, you're probably doing 10% of it. But that was the way you did things. You organized everything up front. Online business is completely different. Unfortunately, I think it's simpler. Online business is far more accessible. Those old rules and limitations are no longer relevant. The historical barriers for success are practically non-existent. You can now reach a global audience instantly. You can receive customer feedback instantly. You can be ultra specific on who your customers are and what you have to offer because you literally have the entire world as your market. I mean, even if you've got a relatively small business idea that wouldn't do well in a local market, it can still do amazingly well in a sea of 4.6 billion internet users. In other words, there's no shortage of customers, especially when you know how to bring your lifetime of experience and wisdom to the table. So why would you not do whatever it takes to tap into this market? Now, if we really want to embrace change, we've got a little bit of unlearning to do. And when you do, the promise is, without a doubt, no matter who you are, there is more opportunity now for your success than ever at any time in history. Those old roadblocks that stopped or slowed startups in the past are now non-factors. So if the outlook for business, for online business, is so rosy, why the heck do so many people our age hesitate or stall out and never build that online business, leaving them to suffer through retirement, being bored, or perhaps even financially struggling? Well, here I think, and this is very generational, I'm not sure every other generation suffers the way we do, but I see two huge blocks that happen over and over again that keep us stuck. And they're the evil twins: fear of failure and imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome, that deep limiting belief that you're not good enough, that no one wants to hear what you have to say, and that you have little value to offer. And I get it. There is not one of us out there who does not suffer from some form of imposter syndrome. I mean, I have it. I have over 300,000 YouTube subscribers and all of the success that I had online and before. I still feel like an imposter at times. Even as I wrote this webinar, I had doubts and concerns, and I worried about it. I was still anxious as I started. Imposter syndrome is a universal condition. And then we have fear of failure compounding the issue. And I wonder where that comes from. I think personally that so many baby boomers and Gen Xers have an acute fear of failure because of the price that we had to pay for failure in our past. I went to Catholic school, Our Lady of the Bleeding Knuckles. And those wonderful, nurturing nuns at my school encouraged me in the most tactile sense not to fail. Never fail. Do not make mistakes. Never allow yourself to fail. And my parents, they loved me, but they followed the suit. In our household, The worst thing you could do is fail at anything you laid your hand to. Can you relate to this? For us, for our generation, failure was the worst thing we could do. Then as adults in our careers, we paid for failure by getting passed over for promotions, getting ridiculed, or even fired. When you add all of this up, our generation has developed a massive fear of failure, which can be paralyzing. So even though, if we look at online business, we're standing on the brink of unprecedented opportunity, fear of failure will paralyze us. It's no wonder we suffer from confidence issues when we don't perfectly understand what it is we are supposed to do. Thou shalt not fail. It was anchored into our psyches at the deepest level. But here's the problem. When you don't allow yourself to fail, you never decide to act. So if you want to create a profitable online business and get paid for your wisdom, then you have to put aside your fear of failure. You know, there's this modern philosophy to embrace failure as the learning tool it can be. And it encourages us to fail fast, learn, adjust, and try again. Progress, each time doing it better. And I freaking love this attitude. And we boomers, we're so well equipped to knock it out of the park. I got to tell you, this attitude is a change for the better, in my opinion. One thing we have all in common, all of us here, is if we've been around for this long, is we've failed. In most cases, we have failed a lot. But look at the benefit. Each failure has been a learning experience, each one making us smarter, more resilient, and better equipped to do better the next time. You have a lot to offer the marketplace, no matter your history. And the reason is it comes from all of the experience that you have earned over all these years. You've earned this place. So here's what we all need to do is park those insecurities and kick imposter syndrome to the curb and flip your attitude towards failure. Easier said than done, Steve, but it's something that I remind myself of every day. Fear of failure, put it in your past. Stop that negative self-talk, and you'll free yourself up to move forward, to take advantage of these opportunities. So the first key, deal with, embrace change. Deal with all of that crap from our past and get past it. And let's go to the second key, which is to leverage your experience to create consistent revenue. Did you know that a study conducted by the Census Bureau and MIT found that a 60-year-old startup is a 60-year-old startup founder is 3 times more likely to found a successful startup than a 30-year-old. Take that. And according to Age and High Growth Entrepreneurship, successful entrepreneurs are middle-aged, not young. And the question is why? Because our generation has so much more life experience, and experience is not something one can simply Google. Think about it. You've had years to build your leadership and problem-solving skills and to accumulate social and financial capital. You've had years to make your mistakes and to learn from them. Your experience makes you interesting. Your experience makes you powerful. Your experience makes you relevant. So why not get paid for that experience? We just need to know how to tap into our experience. And as soon as we do, we realize that there's no bigger opportunity than now. In a way, you've been training for this opportunity right now for your whole life. Experience is your superpower. It's the unique thing you have that no one else has. And no two people's experience is the same. You haven't lived all these years without learning a thing or two from your mistakes, and those mistakes make you unique. And your experience is the key to building your business. Now, we are now going to start and dive into some more tangible ways for you to build an online business. But I want you to keep this top of mind as we move on. Continually, as we go through the rest of the training today, look inside of yourself and recognize the value of your experience. And as we work through the rest of the keys, keep coming back to what you know, what you are good at, what's unique about you, and craft your business ideas around that. Now, we're all not perfect for every role, but when we find the right role to play, we can all knock it out of the park. And we need to start by creating a bridge between our experience and our business. When I was starting in the online world, I had many of the same issues that you're facing right now, but I realized one of the biggest blind spots I had is I didn't understand how to translate my experience into consistent revenue. I'd spent 20 years in TV. I knew how to make money on TV. So when I chose to leave 2 decades of television behind and plan to leverage my experience and flip a switch and start making money online, but it didn't work out that way, as you know. When I look back on what I learned, there's a lot of lessons that I needed to learn. But the first one is that I lacked focus as I started out. I tried this and that, and I tried coming up with all sorts of new ideas and running them up the flagpole to see if anyone saluted. And sadly, people chose not to salute all those ideas I ran up the flagpole. So listen up. If you start with focus, you don't need really big numbers. You don't have to be an influencer with hundreds or thousands or tens of thousands of followers before you can create consistent revenue and build your online business. Focus means that you reach the right people with the right message at the right time and in the right place. And we find our focus by first understanding what our business is. And this is our first step to the clarity that I promised you earlier. Now, there are really only 3 ways to make money online, regardless of where your path is leading in the online business world. Every single business falls into one of these 3 buckets: knowledge, product, and service. That's it. 3 buckets. And what you are doing, or what you are going to do, is going to nicely fall into one of these 3 buckets. The knowledge bucket is all about creating information products, online courses, posting content, online events, affiliate marketing, that sort of stuff. This is the bucket where you're essentially packaging up your or someone else's expertise and selling it. And people want to buy that specialized knowledge because it helps them collapse time and get results faster. Knowledge is my personal bucket. I wish I'd focused on it from the beginning, but that's water under the bridge. The product bucket is all about selling physical products. If you're a manufacturer or you worked in the supply chain, this might be a good bucket for you. Physical products include things like online stores, drop shipping, fulfillment by Amazon. The new retail is a lot simpler than the old retail. But what is the key to success? Experience, your contacts, your knowledge. And finally, the service bucket. This is where you package up your skills into a service that you can sell. So if you've got a specific set of skills from your former life, whether it's project management or consulting, helping others do their work, you can package those skills into services that people are willing to pay for and leverage your wisdom to collapse time for them and make them more efficient. The service bucket also includes professional services like coaching, copywriting, research. Much of the gig economy, like design services, all falls into this service bucket. I hope this is making sense. So I'm going to have a little bit of fun with you right now. I want you to just take a moment and I want you to tell me in the chat which bucket you fall into or you're drawn to. Just pick one. Let me know. Are you a knowledge? Are you service? Are you product? Just put it in. I see, oh, this is fantastic. Here's the cool thing that is happening right now. I want you to know that you are doing something special by declaring for one of these buckets. You've just embarked on the path to creating an online business. Now, for some of you, this is the first step. Remember, every journey starts with a single step, and this can be your first step. And it's huge because for the first time, you've taken yourself out of paralyzing uncertainty about what online business can look like, and you've declared for a direction. You're now starting to take your experience and applying it to a bucket that you're going to work within. So we're on the journey to clarity. So the second key is to leverage your experience to create consistent revenue. Now, before we get to the third key, which is building a system, we need to establish a shared set of values. I'm going to ask you a question. We're going to stay with the chat here for a second. What is the most valuable online currency? And I'm going to get you to type your answers in the chat. What do I mean by that? What do I mean by online currency? Is it money? Is just money the most valuable currency online? Or is it perhaps subscribers? You know, are my YouTube subscribers, is that the most valuable currency that I bring to the table? Is it traffic? Is it the number of views you get on a video or the number of people who visit your website? Is it traffic? Is that the most valuable currency? What about social reach? How many people read your posts and see your content? Or what about attention? How many people comment back and have conversations with you? I'm going to move my head over here and take a look now. Time and money, attention. Some of you got it, what I want. No, there's no bad answers. So I'm not going to beat anybody up for having bad answers. But some of you are on point with the direction that I'm taking us right now. In my opinion, the most valuable online asset is trust. Trust is the most valuable currency online because if you've got the trust of your community, you have a community that you can do business with. And that's huge. So now I know you're like, okay, smarty pants, that sounds great, but how do we build trust? How do you generate that most valuable currency? To build trust, you generate the most valuable currency by simply answering people's questions, solving people's problems. There's a few simple core truths in the online business world, and this is one of them. When you solve problems, you build trust. Now, so far, we've covered a lot, but really simple keys. Essentially, I'm asking you up to now that you have to be responsive and aware of change, that recognize that each of us has a lot of experience, and that experience is very valuable, and we should try and earn people's trust by helping them. I recognize that everything that we've talked about up to now is really pretty theoretical. It's all nice and kumbaya, Steve. But how the hell does all of that philosophical stuff become a business? Let's do that now. Let's talk about something a bit more tangible, which is our third key. And our third key is, I want you to build a system. Every single successful online business that I know follows this exact system. Now, it'll work within this framework. It might not look exactly like it, but trust me, all of the basic tenets that I'm going to put forward, they follow you. This system will build a community of followers or fans who will learn about you, like you, and ultimately trust you on the path to building business with them. This system will provide you with a framework for success. This system will deliver security and purpose to your online business. Now, I call it the social system because social media is the new Main Street, and also I like alliteration. But before I show you the exact framework, it's important to understand what most people are doing who are trying to do this and aren't succeeding, what the common mistakes that they're making. And ironically, sometimes, as I've been talking about how valuable our experience is, sometimes our experience is a detriment, not an asset. We've been taught to believe that in order to build an online business that brings in consistent revenue, we must have every I dotted and every T crossed. Just what I was talking about a few moments ago. The old way to build business is to figure it out step by step, to build a business plan, to get everything set up, to understand everything, every eventuality, check every box, make it perfect so it cannot fail. Prepare and anticipate for everything. It is a daunting task. In fact, if we really look at it, it's an impossible task. It's the old way of doing business. That is not how the online world works. And actually, if you tried to do things the old way, you're dooming yourself to failure. Old school business is a build and deploy system. It's a plan and execute system where you go through those phases. That's not the type of business that we're going to build. Online business is seed and grow. If you try and do things the old way, you're going to burn out, you're going to be stressed, overwhelmed, and stay stuck. I've learned that we grow online businesses from a simple seed. And we can even generate revenue, modest at first, but revenue nonetheless at a very early stage. And the business grows kind of as a living thing, constantly changing, morphing, and versioning as you add elements and improve each time. So here is the Farmer's Almanac. Everything you need to learn to plant and grow your little seed and harvest the results online. I call it the social system blueprint. This is how I built my business, and I offer it to you now. Let's get into it. The social system is really pretty simple. There's 4 pillars that support every online business. It supports your platform: product, process, presence, and promotion. 4. And when you do these 4 things correctly, you've got 4 pillars in place, then profits will follow. You can take this social system blueprint now and you can apply it to pretty much every online business that I know of. Let us begin. The first is your product. And this is often a big roadblock. When we talk about product, it'd be great if we were far enough along in our process to have a real product already in mind, a widget, a course, consulting, coaching, something that you can sell. Now, if you've already got a product in mind, great. But a lot of you are not that far along. But fear not. Remember, we're starting with a seed. We only need the seed. We don't need the whole product yet. This is where we plant the seed, which will grow into the product. And I will show you just how to do this. The seed we plant to start growing our entire business is content. Content. For the most part, what we do is called content marketing. In content marketing, your audience has questions. You have answers. Your answers are content. Your community has problems. You have solutions. Your solutions are content. Now, you may or may not know at this point what sort of content you can or should be creating. And if you don't worry about it. Don't stress on this right now. I've got a system that's going to help you, which I will share with you in a few moments, that will give you clarity on this topic. You'll take all your years of experience and communicate your opinions, insight, wisdom, and mistakes, and then package them up into content. Content is the fuel you need to fire your online business and to build trust. Content will fill your bucket, no matter which of those buckets you chose. It's going to drive traffic and eyeballs and attention that you need to build your online business. Now, if you want to increase your focus, I need you now, this is like the most important part of today's entire training. So I want you to increase your focus with me here for a few moments, because what I'm about to share with you now is the most valuable message I have for you today. I get so excited at this part. I have gone through an intense struggle for years to figure this out. And I believe that I can save you years right now if you trust me with this part of the process. And this is where so many people fail to leverage their experience. So let's talk about the process. How do you turn your experience into content? And how do you use content to build your business? This is almost like the holy grail of building an online business. That one phrase, how do you turn your experience into content? And how do you use that content to build your business? If you have that figured out, you know how your business is going to work. We're speaking now, these are foundational principles. So for most of us, the biggest challenge in that sequence is, how do you get discovered? How do I put content out there and capture people's attention? I love this part of the process because it's not as difficult as it may seem. It's kind of the cornerstone and everything falls in place around it. We've already established that you've got knowledge in droves through your hard-won experience. And we know where the people are. They're online. 3.5 trillion searches on Google every single day. Most of those searches are people looking for answers. And you know that you have answers. And your answers are the product that people are going to find. That product, those answers, you are correct, they are content. Content created consistently over time equals consistent revenue. So let me cut to the chase now. This is how you create the content that captures the attention, that builds your community, that forms our business. It begins here. I'm going to tell you about Marcus. Back when I was starting out, I had experienced sporadic success. I was publishing some videos on YouTube, and some of the videos did well, others not so well. I had unsuccessfully launched a few courses without success. I was pretty much rudderless. I was searching for clarity. And then I discovered Marcus Sheridan, and I read this book. They ask, you answer. For you and I, this is pure gold. The title of this book has become my mantra. It's the Content Marketing from Seed instruction book. Because if you understand the power of asking questions and if you understand the power of answering questions, you'll discover how to create and build your online business. I'm not kidding. This is so important and so simple. Let me share my story. I took to heart the central theme of the book, which is you take your experience and you answer every question people ask of you. Now, remember earlier when I said answering questions creates your content, which leads to trust? That is my origin story. I was lucky. People were already asking me questions on my YouTube channel, which frankly, I largely ignored up until this point. So I rolled up my sleeves and I read every single YouTube comment. And I replied. I answered questions. I made videos on topics that my viewers were interested in, and that led to more questions, to better answers, and everything started to grow. It all led to my first successful product launch. My audience told me what they wanted from me. I listened, I delivered, and all of the pieces began to fall into place. Now, many of you on this webinar are here right now because of this exact process. I'm curious how many of you first learned about who I was through a YouTube video and me answering a question that you had. When you do this right, you'll be told exactly how to create profitable products. And when you do this right, it becomes not a question of if, but a question of when. So if you're not yet clear on how to turn your experience into product, do not fear. You plant a seed. They ask, you answer. If you only get one thing from this training today, this is the thing I want you to learn. Seriously, this is the moment where momentum changed for me. When I started to listen and answer questions, I began to make the right decisions. I began to make the right moves, and that's led me to where I am today. As Gandalf said, here we are at the turning of the tide. I've got to take a pause here and take a drink because this message is so important. I know it almost sounds too simple to be true, but it is that important. So let's just let me just pop it back into the main room here for a second and get April. You can pop in and you can give me a break while I have a drink, and you can tell me what's happening in the chat since I can't follow it going on.
Yeah, no, the chat. It's been great to watch. Loved kind of going back to the beginning. Somebody used the expression "mo money, mo money." And so many people here today found you on YouTube and have reiterated because you answered that they are, that they began following you and became, started to trust you and how it makes a difference.
Josh is saying there. Josh said, I found you through Evernote Made Easy Volume 1. That was the beginning. The videos that I created on Evernote were the first ones that the audience reacted to and asked more questions on. That led me to creating more videos on it and to creating that first course. And in fact, I should do another whole story on it. But without Evernote Made Easy, I wouldn't be here. That was the course. I was almost broke when we launched that course. And that course literally allowed me to pay my mortgage the next month when I wasn't in a position to do it. It was really a true story. And that's the thing about this. What we're teaching here today and what we're talking about, we're proof of, because we have built our business following these rules, religiously almost.
David mentioned his daughter shared about you and said you were doppelgangers and that now he's been part of the Dotto Tech family.
Yeah, fantastic. Good. All right. I needed to take a break in this. And this is the first time we've delivered this kind of under fire. So if it's been a little bit disjointed at times, my apologies, but it's felt pretty good from my perspective. So
everybody's been actively engaged in it. And you know what the best part is, when everybody kind of made an affirmation of kind of what they were looking to do for a service or a product. And that was great. I mean, the chat literally was like, boom, 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 flying.
That's fantastic.
Awesome.
Yeah. All of the font is too small for me to see what's going on, but I love the energy. So let's get back into this so that we can get to Q&A. So thank you, April. I'll get you to shut down and I will head back, and let's jump back into the show here and let's move to the next. So let's move on to our second pillar, which is process. Process covers our tools, our systems, and our techniques. In this pillar, you'll build the technological foundation that helps you make money with your online business without getting stuck in the weeds and being overwhelmed by all of the tools, which can be easier said than done. This is where you focus on deciding things like, what should I do for my website? And what about my email tools? And how will I actually deliver my content? And how do I collect payments? But here's the challenge with this phase, with building your tools, is there are thousands of tools and options out there. And so many people get stuck here and never end up moving on. Analysis paralysis is a very real thing. This here is a map. Don't even try and read it because it'll make your head spin. This is all of the online marketing tools currently available, categorized. These are just online marketing to help you with like Twitter and Instagram and Facebook, communications and marketing. These are the online marketing tools. Look at it. It's insane. Thankfully, after helping literally hundreds of people decide what technology to use and training them in a ton of tech, you can boil down the tools you need into a far simpler subset. Now, the actual tools that we recommend is going to change a bit depending on where you are in your journey, what bucket you are specializing in, what your content is, and your own technical ability. But I want to assure you that your technology doesn't have to be hard, confusing, and complicated. I've seen too many people get completely off track here as they start to implement a system and then they end up overwhelmed by the tech, and that is a shame. You don't need a lot of tools to start out. When I first started out, I didn't use a bunch of tools. When we're talking about that Evernote Made Easy course, when I first had my first launch, I had a website, an email list tool, and Evernote itself to keep me on track and creating my video content. Those tools for me represented the minimum viable product for what I was going to need to build my business. It was important that I had a website, I was growing an email list, and I needed a content planning and management tool to help me plan and execute my videos. And that was all I needed. And I launched my first profitable course just using 3 tools. Just deciding and getting out of analysis paralysis is going to be huge. They'll get you far closer to making money online. You'll have the tools you need to support you on the next pillar, which is presence. This is where and how you build your community and where you start engaging with them. This is how you turn strangers into people who trust you and who want to buy your product. Now, we all know the 3 rules of successful retail. That's location, location, location. Well, location today is your social network. Choosing the right social platform is the first step to building your online presence. But this is a really important step. For most of us, we're talking about Facebook, YouTube, Instagram as the mainstream networks. They're all amazing platforms for connection, for sharing communications and growth. I like to call them discovery engines because it's where people go to find you. Now, while I don't have time to get into the details right now, the critical point that I want to share with you is don't try and do too much. Don't try and fish everywhere with every type of bait. People are going to tell you, and it's always our friends who are using Instagram that tell us you have to use Instagram, and our friends who are successful with Facebook that tell us we have to use Facebook. And so they're always proselytizing for their favorite platform. And they'll tell you got to master them all, and anybody who tries to fails at them all. Attempting to be all things in all places is a recipe for overwhelm. So here's what I say. I say that we go all in on a single social platform and one type of content, and we master the format. Keep it simple. Master the format and the subtleties of that pairing, of that content type and that social platform. That's going to allow you to build a following fast. In the beginning, focus. Ignore everything else. Over time, you will add assets. You'll add additional social channels to your mix, but in your early days, focusing on a single network and a single style of content is advisable. You don't need to be creating tons of different types of content. I promise you, there's one type of content that each of us has, which is going to be the one that we excel at. Concentrate on that one, master that format, and you can focus. The focus will lead you more quickly to success. So don't overcomplicate it. All in, one platform, one content type, start making money, start building your community, and then you can diversify. Committing to a single platform is going to fast track your relationship with your community. And now here's another thing. Conventional sales theory tells us that it still takes 8 touch points to turn a prospect into a customer. Now, that may or may not be relevant in your case, but I suspect that it's probably fairly accurate. The idea of that 8 touches is that your customer embarks on a journey with you, on a sales journey with you. And every one of us goes through that kind of a sales journey. Now, I see 3 phases to the journey where those 8 touch points happen. So here they are. This is the journey that moves people from our social platform, from our discovery, through to becoming finally a customer. And everyone starts when they find us online as a skeptic. This is where the market doesn't know you or why they should listen to you. Moving people beyond skepticism. How do we do that? Well, you probably already know, don't you? The answer is you answer their questions. You prove your value, and then you move them into the second phase, which is where they're curious with you. And this is where trust starts to build. If you've helped someone, they start to wonder if you're a good fit for them. Perhaps there's more to you, and then they become curious about you, so they look into you a little bit more. So if you're constantly creating content and delivering it where they can find it, then you have presence. Their curiosity about you is sated, and they start to see you not anymore as a curiosity or as somebody interesting, but now as a valuable resource that they treasure. They've discovered you themselves, and they begin to like you, which leads to the third phase, which is, again, trust. This is where our relationship is cemented, and this is where we really start to be able to do business together. At the end of this customer journey is a conversion event, and that conversion event is when they sign up for your mail list or buy a product. We love to say that people who buy from us are those who know us, like us, and trust us. This customer journey, starting with answering questions, which creating the key, is the whole process that creates the key to repeating this know, like, and trust cycle over and over again as they complete that journey. And we just talked about this. I believe that the customer journey, I believe in the customer journey, and so many of you have traveled it with me. And I already asked you, where did you first discover me? Was it a YouTube video? Was it an email? Was it a simple online course? So we here are proof that this customer journey works. And if you do things right, at each touch point, you create new bonds leading to trust. The customer journey happens only if I'm available to you. That availability comes through presence. So the third pillar of building an online business is presence. Now here will now bring us to the fourth pillar, which is promotion. And this one here is probably the most underappreciated, most feared and skipped step of all. But promotion is really only letting people know that you've got something to sell in a compelling way. It's crazy how many of us drop the ball here. Promotion's really important because here, everything up to now has been a nurturing activity. You've embraced a community, you've taught a community, you've shared with a community, you've got them to like you, you've communicated with them, they've gotten to know you. Promotion is the link between that nurturing phase and the action stage, where your activities can now turn to revenue, income activities. For me, there was actually a big psychological barrier here because I put so much value in trust. When you sell to someone, you spend some of your trust equity with them. And the issue that I had, and I still have, and I'm always careful of, is my desire to protect my reputation. And when I started to sell information products, I didn't want to be lumped in with more unscrupulous online marketers. Selling comes really naturally to some people, and it needs to be an acquired skill for others. But if you've done a good job of building trust, listening to your community, you've crafted a valuable offer, your prospects want to buy from you. And they've been through the customer journey with you, and they're ready to complete it. When that happens, it doesn't feel pushy, it's not slimy, it cements your relationship, it's a natural progression. So promotion is just making sure people know how to continue the relationship with you. And the best news of all is if you have all these 3 P's in place, product, process, presence, and promotion, you know what comes next? Profit. The 5th P. I told you I like alliteration. Okay, I got to tell you, this still, I love waking up in the morning to PayPal notifications that someone bought products while I slept. Every time my phone pings me with a payment notification, I get one of those little endorphin rushes. Every time I get a notification, it's validation that I've done things right, that I've built the 4 pillars of my business properly. It's a wonderful feeling. And here's something that I didn't think about as I was building it. It's given me a wonderful sense of financial security. You know, I never felt really secure, even though I had success. 25 years of television and radio, I always felt I was at the mercy of others. That's gone. I now have security. And in this world, a little bit of security is a very nice thing to have. I want that for you. You're probably wondering if it's really all that simple. It is. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work to build it. But the basic principles are simple, and it's simple when you can see the whole vision. This is 10 years of lessons that I put into these 4 pillars. It took me a long time to figure out how each key works, but it's a beautiful system because it works. And we're proof of the system. As we just talked about moments ago, this webinar is proof of the system. Most of you are here in this webinar because I've earned your trust. We followed a customer journey together. Some it's been long, some it's been short, and some of you didn't even know me till recently, whereas others have followed for years, but we've all taken this journey. So I'm going to get yourself to ask yourself a question. Do you want to be able to build a community and develop a product and grow an online business? Do you want to reach that community and engage with them and teach them and lead them and offer them something that they need, something that will help them solve problems and create the life that they want? Do you want to have the security to create independent income, become the master of your own fate? Very cool aspirations, and I want them for you because it changes everything in your life and future. It changes how you feel about yourself. It changes your worth to yourself, and it gives you the ability to remain relevant, right, vital, and secure. Now, I've shared with you the blueprint for success. You can take these pillars now. What you've learned up to now, I hope you found really valuable, and you could take it and you could run with it. You can build your business just on what we've taught today. I suspect you'll make some of the same mistakes that I've made, but I've no doubt that you can take this framework and build your business. I hope you can see that now. But there is one more key principle that I have yet to share with you, which has been critical to my journey, and that is the 4th key. It takes a village to build a business. As far as I'm concerned, the fastest route to building your business is through active mentorship. Now, when you have other peers, when you have advisors, mentors who've already been through this and done that, you get your results faster and you get better results. Smart advice helps you mitigate risks. It helps you see your blind spots, and it helps you to move fast. I don't know where I'd be without my mentors, without my inner circle. I'm going to share one story with you right now. This is a really personal story. I was hired by a design firm this is back in the 80s. I was hired by the firm that was building the new hockey arena in Vancouver. And I was helping them to design all of the in-arena entertainment systems. The board, I was developing specking out the board and the systems we were going to use to deliver video and animation and content to the board. And we pioneered a new idea for the arena. We pioneered an idea for an interactive seat technology. Now, it never came to fruition, but it was a revolutionary idea for its day. It was before the internet. And we developed these interactive seats for club seating at sporting events. So you could order food and beverage to your seat or vote for the player of the game. I know it seems really pedestrian today, but back in the day, it was the bomb. We were like, wow, so cool. We were seeing so far in the future. And I was hired in this project by the architect in charge. It was a fellow named Stan Sawson. He was one of the designers of the iconic Sky Dome in Toronto. He developed the opening roof system for them. And the group that was building the arena here in Vancouver decided to take this seat concept, spin it off, and pitch it to major sports franchises in other stadiums around North America. And so I got to meet in meetings with all of these different organizations. We met with the NHL, the NBA, Major League Baseball. And these were high-level, commissioner-level meetings, which was way above my pay grade. It was like I was like going to advanced business school. I was the tech guy in the meeting, and Stan was the pitch guy. I can still remember one meeting, and this is a hugely important moment for me. We were in a meeting with a major league franchise, or not a major league franchise, a major league sports organization, and we pitched the idea to them. We had our models, we had everything, and they hated it. I mean, they hated it. They went up one side of us, down the other. They practically threw us out of the office. At least I felt that way. I'm sure it wasn't as bad in retrospect, but they definitely rejected us in the most obvious way. Just go, don't come back. And I can still, my head was spinning. It was almost like, I was in shock. And we took the elevator down. I don't remember the elevator. I'm sure I was just staring at the floor in the elevator, going down to the ground floor. We walked out onto the street, and it was like 5 PM. Dusk was falling. It was a cool autumn night. And Stan goes, "Hail a cab, Steve. Let's go have dinner." And he was just like, and I looked at him and I said, "Stan, how can you be so, we just had our asses handed us. How can you be like this?" And he looked at me, and there was no guile. He just looked at me and goes, "Now we know what they don't want. We'll figure it out, and we'll come back with something they do." It was like, Stan was ahead of my time as far as fear of failure. He didn't look at it as a failure. He looked at it as a learning experience. He had total confidence that he could figure it out, and that we hadn't been rejected. Just the idea had been rejected. It had nothing to do with us. If I hadn't had that lesson from Stan on how to deal with rejection and how to respect my own value and not lose sight of my goals, I never, ever would have been able to launch my TV show. Because as I was launching, I got to tell you, I had plenty of opportunities to deal with rejection. But if I hadn't had that lesson, it probably would have crushed me when I was rejected, and I wouldn't have continued on to build the show. And if I hadn't built the show, I'm pretty sure I wouldn't be where I am today. One thing leads to the other. That's the power of mentorship, of having the right people at the right time with you, who are willing to move forward with you, people who believe in you, and people who you trust. What's that saying? We are the sum of the 5 people who we spend the most time with. Your inner circle of mentors and peers sets you on the path to success, and they will make your dream a reality. But when you're an entrepreneur, that type of community support and mentorship that many take for granted in the corporate world isn't magically waiting for you in our little home office here, in our COVID home office, right? I mean, let's be honest. If you're on this webinar with me right now, I bet your family doesn't really understand what it is you're thinking about doing. I know mine sure doesn't understand the business I'm in, and they never will. Your friends won't understand what you're doing. They may even think that you're being crazy. And most likely the mentors from your past life don't understand it because they're not doing online business. To this day, I go to social events and I tell people I'm a YouTube creator, and they say, "Can you really make money at that?" So none of my friends and family understand my business. While I love them, they are next to useless to me to bounce ideas off of. They're not a resource I can turn to help me build my business. So for me, a major breakthrough came through when I started to going to conferences like Social Media Marketing World, because that's where other people were who do what I do. People who I could talk to about funnels and conversions and lead magnets and retention rates and cold and warm audiences, and people who didn't think I was talking dirty if I was talking about that. It was a place that I met many of my current mentors and peers, Finally, people who understood what I do and they can offer constructive feedback and ideas. We can only maximize our strengths so far. Beyond that, when we fall short, we're going to need somebody else's insights to help pick us up, to help make our dreams a reality. No one succeeds alone in this business any more than a child can grow and learn in isolation. So it's essential for you to plug into a community who understands what you're up to, who are encountering the same challenges that you are, and who can help you reach your potential. When you're surrounded by a community of like-minded people, it gives you the support you need to grow. It helps you collapse time and avoid mistakes. And building an online business can be uncomfortable. It's going to take time. It's a journey. And while I will not say that you can't do it alone, I will say that doing it alone sucks. And it makes it a lot harder than it has to be. So don't try and go it alone. Join a community, follow a mentor that you can trust. Our fourth and final key is it takes a village to build a business. Unfortunately, that's exactly what we are doing. Now, I know that we have covered a ton today. Now, you may remember that at the beginning of this, it was an hour ago now, I said that my biggest promise to you was that you would learn 4 keys to succeed in the online business world so that you remain relevant and independent in the digital age. I'm going to recap. The 4 keys are mindset. You have to determine that it's going to happen, and you have to be willing to make changes and deal with change and constantly evolve. You need to leverage your experience, your unique superpower. You won't have to build a system. You need the pragmatic steps of building a system to support your business. And you now know the 4 pillars of the social system. And you know that you need to find the right community of mentors to help you through the rough spots. I hope that by sharing these keys with you, you now have some clarity, what I promised you, clarity in what an online business looks like and where you fit. And I hope that I've encouraged you or maybe even inspired you that you can do it too. Now, as we said off the top, we're all here for different reasons, but we are all interested in building an online business. So if you're ready to take all of your hard-won experience, your work ethic, your commitment to community and family, and build an online business that supports you, that you can be proud of, that you can be excited about, we've got you covered, because today's webinar is all about announcing the Gray Wave, our membership community designed specifically for baby boomers and Gen X. We're really, really proud of this. When I recognized that our generation is increasingly marginalized, I started to see the impact of it. So much of who we are as baby boomers and Gen Xers is tied up with what we do. And when one of us is cast aside, when we're marginalized, when we're told by our workplace and industry that we're no longer needed, no longer necessary, no longer relevant, a terrible thing can happen. We can lose part of ourself. Now, it would be great if we had a sense of self that was powerful enough to overcome it, and some of us do, but most of us don't. And the social cost for our generation is becoming profound. Marginalization, lack of relevance, it leads to lack of motivation. A diminished drive leads to depression, and a cascading descent can follow. Alcohol abuse, substance abuse, spousal abuse, suicide, all are fruits of this bitter tree. And I saw that this is our generation's reality. But I also appreciated that I wasn't suffering from these trials. And I realized that's because I still have relevance. I still get excited about what I do. I can't be marginalized when it's my business. I recognized with stark clarity that I needed to weigh in and help. I needed to teach others that are baby boomers and Gen Xers that they can do this too. And the Gray Wave became my passion project. I wanted to build a community for us, to give baby boomers and Gen X a place to learn the skills to remain relevant and to thrive in an online space. We still have so much to offer. You and I, we are the Gray Wave. We know that our gray represents experience. Our gray represents commitment. Our gray represents the future. And the internet has no idea what is coming. So let me tell you what's inside. Inside of the Gray Wave community, we cover and we teach every single pillar of the social system. We teach you product, process, presence, and promotion. In product, you're going to find your voice. You'll find your story and convert that into something to sell. This way, you're going to know with 100% certainty that you have a way to make money online. In process, I'm going to teach you how to create and produce compelling content, how to support that content with a business infrastructure. You will become craftsmen creating podcasts and videos, blogs or vlogs, and use that content to convert viewers, listeners, and readers into your online community who adores you and what you have to offer. You'll put into place management and publishing systems. We cover the tech as well as the content creation. In the present section, we teach you how to get your content noticed, how to engage and grow your community using the social networks, so you never have to worry about finding your next customer. And then promotion, how to run promotional strategies that find your core followers and convert them into buyers who are eager to work with you and your company. You'll create profit, have an online successful business, one that you have always dreamed of. Plus, it's a fully virtual experience, so it's on demand from the palm of your hand 24/7, and you can access it anywhere in the world around your own schedule. Now, within the Grey Wave community, when you join it, you not only get access to the 4 pillars, but you get access to our entire library of educational and tutorial-based videos, along with action sheets that give you specific action steps that you need to implement everything that I teach inside the course. So if you are a person who wants to start, launch, and grow an online business, but don't really know what to do next, the Grey Wave may well be the answer. Now, at this point, you're probably wondering, is it right for us? I want to be clear, it's not right for everyone. We only want the right people, so don't join if you can't handle a little bit of constructive criticism, if you can't handle my bad jokes, if you're not willing to participate, to bring value and engage with the community, and definitely don't join us if you're looking for a get-rich-quick scheme, because that is not us. It's hard work within the Grey Wave. If that's the case, however, the Grey Wave is perfect for you. If you recognize and you believe what we said, that your experience is valuable, and if you want to stay in the game, if you want to attract customers and followers and build an online business that creates revenue and security and personal relevance, if you're ready to do the best you can to leave behind limiting beliefs and set yourself up for success and be able to cope with the challenges that come your way without feeling stupid or worried about failing, and if you consider yourself to be at least moderately technologically savvy, at least you're not afraid to roll up your sleeves and you've got the ability to fire up your computer and get things done. And so important, if you want to become a supporting member of a community of peers, celebrate other success, and be vulnerable enough to lean on this community when you need help, if that's you, then keep listening. Now, I got to stop now because I'm going to talk to you one-on-one, because many of you may recognize the format that we've been going. This entire webinar has been a classic sales webinar format. This is a proven format that we actually teach you how to do within the Grey Zone itself. And many of you, if not all of you, have been through this sort of a webinar before, and you know what's coming next. You know exactly what's going to happen next if I was to follow the same path. That I would now start to roll out some numbers about how much you would have to pay to get this from others, and I would put there's a slide. I would put on all sorts of bonuses. I'd put big numbers up on the screen of how much other people charge for similar offerings, and then I would include some amazing time-limited bonuses to sweeten the pot, and then I would put forward compelling reasons to join, and then just when it all seems so dark and expensive, I'll surprise you with a special price, which is time limited, sprinkle in a few amazing testimonials. This style of webinar works. It is social engineering at its finest. And as I said, it would work if we chose to employ it right now. And in fact, we actually built this entire stack to our slideshow. My coaches worked it through with me. And yes, we hired coaches to help us prepare to the launch webinar for the community, because I'm best at teaching and I'm not best at selling. So we needed some help. But earlier in the webinar, we talked about how important trust is and reputation is. And this type of social engineering is not me. It's not us. It's not the way we do business. We've got nothing against it being used. We recognize its value, but it's just not the way we do business. And it would be disingenuous of us to try and use those social triggers on you right now. So instead, my poor coaches, they do all this work for me. And this is the point in the webinar where you do the offer, and they call this the anti-offer, because I'm just going to be straight up with you, tell you how much it costs, and then fill you in a little bit more on what's inside. So you can join the Grey Wave community. It is now, we launched it in beta in July. We've had a founders group go through. We've tested all of our premises. We've created valuable content for it. It's a running, vibrant community, which is already making a difference in people's lives. So you're going to join something. The train's already left the station. We're already on the way, and really it's in great shape. So you can join us now if you're interested, which I hope you are, for We charge $4.99 as your first month's fee, and then it's $99 a month thereafter. That's the investment in the Gray Wave. And I could go through all of the cost justification for this, but I'm not going to do that with you right now. I will tell you that we do have, as we're starting up, and we do have $100 off. So if you are interested in joining us, you can join for $3.99 plus $99 a month. And there's also an annual plan, which you pay up front. I think it's $11.99, and you actually save $500, just under $500 on a year for that membership. And I promise you one thing right now, we will never sell this for less. It's going to be this price or more expensive in the future. However, you who are part of this community, part of this webinar, if you decide to join it in 6 months, I'll honor this price. I don't play those kind of false scarcity games. So that's the price that you can get. Once you join the membership, you can have access to all of the trainings inside of the membership. And I'm going to take you in quickly and show you what's in it so you can get an idea of what there is. And I got to tell you, we are really proud of what we have done with the membership. And so inside of the membership is a growing library. Let me see if I get the video playing. There it is. There's a growing library of resources and training. This is what you see here is actually the membership area. So right off the bat, you've got access to custom trainings covering every aspect of online business. Now, each one of these modules you see here is a complete training covering one aspect or one of our existing courses. The core content inside of the membership is broken into individual complete lessons like you see here. Each one of these modules can stand alone as an online course. Within the modules, there's video trainings, our initial training. There are worksheets, there's checklists, there's resource collections. As well, there are replays of all of our Q&A sessions, of the roundtables that we have. There are downloadable, as I say, downloadable checklists and other resources. All of that is available within the membership area itself. And you can see there, what you see playing right now is one of the Q&As from one of our lessons. So it's all there with all of the questions spelt out for you. There's a transcript of it, so you can search and find the answers for the common questions that you have within each of the lessons. That is the internal structure of the Gray Wave. Now, I got to tell you, this style of is that going to work? There we go. Okay. How we create these lessons is actually a work of art. Every month, we have a focused training on one topic. We deliver the base content for that topic live as a hybrid webinar. This sort of webinars that you would have seen on Webinar Wednesday with a little more teaching focus. Typically about an hour of information-dense training. That's week 1 of each month. Week 2, we have a live Q&A where you ask questions and we fill in the gaps in the training. Then we take that feedback and we create additional supporting content, and we release the final version of the module in week 3. And we have another roundtable discussion where we bring in outside experts and talk about the entire topic from a completely different angle. It's a fantastic technique. We call it rapid course development. And I think it's the most efficient way I know of to create compelling course content. And while that is all going on, we have something else going on, which is equally awesome. We have a very vibrant VIP Facebook group where we offer ad hoc live streams, open office hours, and we have constant conversation about the topics that we are teaching. If we take a look inside of the Facebook group, let's see the video running here. Is that right? Yes, it is. Good. The Facebook group, as I say, has become just a joy for me and for April, who is our Facebook, who is the manager of the group. We've discovered that members support members and encourage other members. And I promise you this, it's already grown into a wonderful, nurturing, and vibrant community that we're really proud of. Here's the thing. When you build a community of really smart, experienced, mature people who know coming in that they're expected to both ask questions and to support their peers, a wonderful thing happens. And that wonderful thing is this Facebook group. It is frankly worth the price of admission all on its own. It has become, as I say, just a really solid part of our Gray Wave community. As mentioned, we have a dedicated community manager, April, who is my co-host here of the webinar today. She's in it daily to resolve your questions and point out any specific solutions that you might need. Now, if this was a classic sales webinar, you're probably wondering, what about bonuses? Because there's always bonuses. And frankly, my coach told me to have bonuses. Bonuses convert, they said, and yes, they do. But if we want the Gray Wave to be what we want to give you everything you need to build a successful online business. So why would we need bonuses? Instead, if we did frame them as bonuses, they would just be another marketing ploy. So when you join the Gray Wave, as well as all of the course content we've created for the Gray Wave, you also have immediate access to our entire library of online content marketing and creation courses that we've built up to this point. So when you join, you'll get courses like Online Video Made Easy, which is how to create online video for YouTube, Facebook, live stream, and online courses, winning at webinars, creating and delivering your first online course. We have a whole library here of online courses, which are all designed to support you in your content creation and online marketing needs. These aren't bonuses because these are skills that you are going to want to develop as you build your online business. They're all included with the membership. We typically sell them between $39 and $4.99 each, and they've all done very well as standalone courses. In fact, many of you here may have taken one of them in the past. But they're included because they cover the skills that you are going to need. Plus, we've added one other course that we didn't write ourselves, and that's a WordPress course. Many, if not most of you, are going to be using WordPress for your website, and we found a great WordPress course to get you started if you're going the do-it-yourself route. And by the way, several members of the community are WordPress specialists. So guess what? When you have asked questions, you ask, and they answer. So I'm going to do a quick recap. We have monthly detailed trainings, a minimum of 4 live sessions per month, access to the Gray Wave library of courses, all of the Dottotech courses, the WordPress course, the private Facebook group, everything you need to build an online business for $3.99 plus $99 a month. Moving ahead, you can cancel it anytime. The first month is included in the price. Now, quickly back to the coaches that I hired. They said at the end, we're at the very end now, before we go to the question period. And we had a really good conversation over this because at this point in a sales webinar, you have to create a sense of urgency. It's time to close the sale. And they wanted me to tell you that you have to buy today to get the bonuses or buy today to get the price. And they said to me, if you don't create a sense of urgency, your community won't buy from you. They told me that. And they said, you're actually doing them a favor. Do you believe in your product? They asked me, do I believe in my product? Yes, I do. I do believe in my product, but I also believe in you. This audience is unique in the online space. I believe that you are more mature and we've got a unique perspective on life. So rather than creating false urgency by offering some time-limited bonuses that are only time-limited because I decide that they're time-limited, I'm going to put forward to you the best case for urgency there is because I am going to do the urgency pitch. The one thing that we can't create is time. Time is Mother Nature's urgency call. At our age, we must recognize that our time's limited. You can wait and you can do this all yourself, but if you do so, you are going to be trading time for dollars. If you join the Gray Wave, you can move much more quickly and much more surely along the path. At its core, the Gray Wave saves you time, allowing you to complete more, better, in less time. And so the sooner you start, the better. If you come back in 6 months and you want to join, I'm going to welcome you with open arms and I'm going to honor everything I'm offering right now. But you will have lost 6 months of progress. I feel a sense of urgency in my life now. Every circuit of the sun, it increases. For us, for boomers, for Gen X, there is no false urgency. The time to make a difference is now. So the final exercise that we're going to do is I want you to picture yourself 6 months from now. You can be rewatching this webinar thinking it's about time to get started, or you can already be 6 months down the road. You can be already generating income. You most certainly will have all 4 pillars in place and a clear vision of what your business looks like, what your product looks like. You'll be well on the path. 6 months from now, you can be making a difference in your community's life. You can be mentoring and teaching others, following your passion. 6 months from now, you can be waking up every morning with a sense of purpose. And oh, what a gift that is. With a job to do that you're proud of and passionate about. 6 months from now, you can be telling your friends who are facing what we're facing today, don't despair. I figured this out. I know what to do. Let me show you how. That's what I'm telling you right now. Let us show you how. So what's holding you back? If you're ready to take all of the hard work that you've invested in you and create a business that gives you security and purpose, if you are, then we are here for you. We built this community for you. We want you in the community. We need you in the community. And if I may, I think you probably need us as well. We do have a guarantee, 30 days money back. If you join the Gray Wave community and go through at least 2 of our foundational lessons, if you don't like it, if it doesn't work for you and you're not 100% satisfied, you've got 30 days to request a refund, which means you have absolutely nothing to lose. So join me. Let us get to some questions. Whew. Okay. Oops. There it is. All right. I'm back. And April can come on.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you not want me to come on?
How are we doing?
We're good. So there's just a little bit of confusion on some of the, so first of all, you did a great job and everybody appreciates all of your honesty about like, the urgency offer and all that. Marcus is like your biggest cheerleader in that, so thank you. That was great. And you did a great job of sharing all about online business. And we also have some of our Gray Wave members in here today.
Hey, guys.
So they're sharing about the membership, which is awesome. So one of the questions, if we can just go over the month, so the setup fee is $4.99, but there's $100 off. There's no coupon code. So when you go to the checkout, it'll automatically be deducted. So it's $3.99 and then $99 a month. It's a month-to-month, no contract. You can cancel at any time.
Yeah, that's right. Unless you buy the year in advance. Yeah.
Right. And on the annual, you basically save $488 on the startup. So you pay $11.99 because it'll automatically apply a $100 discount from $12.99, and then annually after that it's $9.99. So
yeah, and when you check out, you'll see the anniversary date, so you'll know when it starts. And one of the things that we will be doing is we'll be reaching out to everybody a month before their membership is up, so they're not surprised by all of a sudden being renewed and saying, "Oh, I forgot about that. I haven't been in the community for a while," etc. Yeah.
People were asking, is it have to do with Patreon? Patreon is completely a separate program. There's no discount for Patreon members here because it's a completely different product. It's not a course, it's a subscription.
I believe in real transparency in pricing, as everybody who follows us knows. So here's how we priced, how the pricing works as far as we're concerned. If people are interested enough to take the webinar, we're going to be offering them this price. Once we've done this warm webinar, testing it out, learning, this is the very first time we've delivered it. So I'm sure that there's some things that I can express more clearly. Your questions are going to help me with that. We're going to do this webinar a few more times to a warm audience, and then we're going to turn it into an evergreen webinar to generate traffic and generate new people into it on a kind of an evergreen model. They're going to be offered this same price as we move ahead. On our website, if people visit the website, it's always going to be $4.99 and for the first month, and then $99 a month thereafter. That's going to be the public price that's always available. We are never going to offer it for less. There's never going to be a special. We're not going to be offering a Black Friday discount or any of that stuff. That's not the way we roll. We believe that there's tremendous value at the price today. What we will be doing is, as we have every month, we increase the equity in the course. There's another module that's been proven and tested, and there's more people in it. There's more mentors within the community, and it becomes that much more valuable. We will be revisiting and we will be increasing the enrollment price as we move ahead, because all of the investment that everybody else has made, I believe that we have to honor that. And so we will be increasing the price as we go along, but it'll never be offered for less. However, you people, and people that are worried about this price being available, yes, if you took this webinar, as I said, in 6 months from now, if you reach out to us, we will honor this price, even if we've raised the price.
So some of the questions, so this is not a course, this is an ongoing subscription membership. So that's the difference. So it's not your, when Steve talked about the courses that are included, there's courses that he's done previously that are included in the membership as, a bonus essentially, but you're getting access to all of these courses that he's already completed and already done, plus brand new content that's created regularly. The other question was, so can you kind of go over a little bit about the startup fee, because there seems to be some confusion if they can just pay the $3.99 or and this is all helpful for us, friends, just so you know, because we want to make sure that it's very clear and it's very transparent.
Yeah, so the whole idea is the startup fee is the first month fee. It's almost like an initiation fee, but that sounds kind of harsh. The thinking is that the people who have already been part of the community have invested money already in building the course content to this point. And somebody could theoretically sign up, they could go through all of the content in a month, and then they could leave. And it would be patently unfair for everybody else if somebody was to consume the content, blitz through the content in a month, and then leave when other people have been investing month after month to building the equity. So the initiation fee kind of represents a, to mitigate that situation. That's what it is there for. So we could have charged more on a monthly fee, or we could have, we played with a lot of different pricing models, but we just decided to have this 1 month. The first month is this price. Every month thereafter is the $99 a month.
It is in US dollars. Just,
Yeah.
I know that question has come up a few times. The other thing too is that I think where some of the confusion is coming in, when you go to the sales page and it says $4.99 as the setup fee, actually, if you click on like you're going to go and join and ride the gray wave, you will see it will automatically deduct that $100 and it will be $3.99, and then it will be $11.99 for the annual.
If at checkout it doesn't automatically give you the discount, we've set it up within the UTM for it to automatically apply the discount rather than have people type it in. That's problematic. If it doesn't do that, let us know and we'll make sure that we get you the proper URL.
It looks like it's working, so it automatically deducts it.
I don't know who it is, but somebody's just signed up. Where our first person has just joined. Welcome aboard.
And so the annual savings is $488. So although you're paying $11.99 to start up for this first year, after that it's only $9.99 a year. Yeah. And so I think one of the things we should talk about is kind of the modules. So every content, I've noticed some questions. So the content modules, and Steve went over kind of the structure. So every month we do a brand new course module to help with your online marketing. So we do a live training, then we do a Q&A, then we do what we call a community live roundtable, where we bring in special guests and members to talk about real life experience to help you kind of put it all together. And then at the end of the month, the live is with Steve, and it's an Ask Anything where you can ask him any questions. It doesn't have to be related to the module. And then you get access to all the other modules at any time. And like this past month, we dropped in a holiday marketing module. That was something that it wasn't a live training, but it was recorded. So you were constantly filling with more and more information. And then we also depend on our community to give us feedback to help us to kind of lead our topics. So coming in November, we have all about website design, where there'll be some SEO stuff, hosting stuff, things like that. So we really try to make sure that the content that we're delivering is what the community is looking for and needing. And then we also have office hours where you can jump on a call we have a short kind of scheduled call if you have run into a hiccup or you need somebody to bounce ideas. And honestly, the Facebook community is really one of the special pieces of the community. Would you agree, Steve?
Yes, the Facebook community. There's a couple when you're head down and you're working on this. Remember, we talked about imposter syndrome. We don't realize how good it's be. We hope that it's going to turn out this way, and but it has been a delight to me. Maybe it's our generation. The fact that we made this generational, which means we share such a value system, is people want to see others' success. It isn't a competitive group, but it's a very supportive and nurturing group. And people are getting on there saying, we're doing a webinar. I'm doing my first webinar. Will anybody want to watch it? I did this when we launched. I did a trial version of this webinar. We shared it with a few people in the community. They gave me feedback. So those sorts of, that sort of feedback, that sort of advice, and people at every stage, kind of every milepost along the journey are there. So some people you're going to be able to help, and other people are going to help you. It's really warmed my heart what's happened with the Facebook community. It's become a special place. And I know that sounds trite, but I know that the people who are in here that are part of it, they will tell you that that is the truth.
So John, you just made a great statement here. You said, so it's not a kind of course, but more a growing knowledge base. Yes, but it's a live growing knowledge base. So it's something where we have literally, it's not where you're just logging in and it's do it yourself. I mean, of course, you're the one that's going to execute those skills and those goals in your business, but you get to meet with us live, you get to have questions, and you get the support of the community. I think one of the things, like today we had, it was Wednesday wins, and everybody kind of shares what they're working on for the week in the community, and people will share a video and ask for feedback. It's a very supportive community for you to help build your business and answer all the questions that you have. It's a tribe. That's how Steve describes it.
Mary Jo's asking where she signs up. If you go to the wearethegraywave.com, there's the sign up form there. There's quite a few questions here about the of people that are interested in signing up and kind of some specific little roadblock questions that they have. I'm just going to jump in quickly and have a look at them. April. Robert B is asking if he has a two-person partnership, and can they have a single membership? Yeah, I haven't really thought it through, but I don't see any issue with that. I mean, that would be just fine as far as I'm concerned. We haven't set a. If it becomes an issue, I think 5 and 10 person companies, you might be taking advantage of our generosity. But yeah, absolutely, you'd be fine. You'll have a single login. You'll have a single ID as far as that goes, but you can certainly both take the content and jump in on that sort of stuff. You'll have to reach out to April to talk about how you handle the Facebook group. We haven't actually had a conversation about, but I don't see a problem with that. I think that's fair. Do we take PayPal? Currently, we don't have it set up in PayPal because PayPal doesn't handle recurring payments. So the actual payment goes through Stripe is the payment processing plan. Unfortunately, Susan, that's not. We would do PayPal if we could. If it's a big issue for you and you're interested in the annual subscription, you can reach out to April and she can probably work out some way to make it happen through PayPal. But for the most part, that would be a one-off. There's no easy way for us to set it up as far as that goes. Dan's asking, what does this do to our Patreon participation? Patreon is completely separate. Patreon is the support for Webinar Wednesday and kind of the ongoing, a lot more about productivity and that kind of stuff. So, I certainly, if you're a patron and some people are patrons and members, but if you do sign up for the Grey Wave community, I can certainly understand if you decide to, at that point, back out of the Patreon support as well. But they don't, there's no crossover, there's no relationship, there's no benefit one side or the other. Although we do appreciate the Patreon support.
So one thing, just so you know, friends, that setup fee is only a one-time setup fee when you join the membership. That covers all the administrative things that we're doing, getting you set up in the membership, kind of the onboarding process. You do not pay that next year on your annual. So if you do annual, it's $999 for next year. If you are monthly, you only pay that $399 when you buy in today, and then it's $99 a month for the lifetime of your membership.
Mary Jo, can you sign up initially for the month by month and then get the annual discount? Yes, you can upgrade to an annual plan at any point within it, and you won't have the initial. Once you've paid the $399 initiation fee, let's say in 2 months, so you paid $99 next month, and the following month you say, I'd like to convert to annual, it'll just be $999, and then your anniversary date will be 1 year from that point. So you can update. And then, so that's not going to be a problem, Mary Jo. Thank you for that question. Linda, you can't commit for 2 months. Will the discounted subscription prices be available to me? Yes, they will, Linda. You will. So
there's a great question about the material. The material is held in our Thinkific membership site. So Steve showed a short video of that. So all of the content is in the membership. You have access to it 24/7. The Facebook group, we do lives there. However, those videos also get put into the membership portal too. So if you choose not to be in the Facebook group, although we would encourage you to really try to be part of that, because it really is a great way to learn from others and your peers, and it's a great community there.
This is a question from the webinar, I think, asking when I was talking about, they ask you if you answer all the questions for free, what's there left to sell? Lots. You can't possibly answer every question. Let me put it this way. I answer every question on YouTube for years and years. We answered every question and we still found things to sell because people aren't going to want to look in all of the different places. And you don't necessarily, if somebody says, how do I use Evernote? You aren't going to answer that question. There's a little bit more pragmatism as far as that goes. But the more you give away, the more you build trust, and then people want to do business with you. There's a real value to having everything digested and organized. The amount of work that we put into organizing the Grey Wave, when you think about it, you can find most of the stuff that or a lot of the stuff that we teach, you can cobble together yourself from other YouTube videos, from our YouTube videos, from following other influencers. But you've got to pull all those pieces together and create context yourself. We do all of that for you, and we've done a great job. So you can, if you follow the, Marcus Sheridan's philosophy, and Marcus deals with that about, when do you stop giving away your stuff for free? Read the book. He'll do a far better job of explaining it than me, and he frankly deserves you buying the book. He's been a big help to so many of us. Oh, look at that. How does Steve get in the circle frame around his webcam? We kind of outdid ourselves technically. I actually used a virtual camera. So we're using Demio for the webinar, and I use Ecamm Live, which is a switching application which you use for live streaming. In this case, we didn't stream; we just used a virtual camera, and I set up various shots within Ecamm. And I use something called a Stream Deck, which you can see right here. This is a little switcher, and I switched back and forth from the slide to the slide with me in the circle to full screen as I went through the slides. I hope that you liked it. It was a lot of work. I wasn't quite as smooth as I would have liked to have been, but it was. I think it adds value. Let me know if you liked it.
So so when you go to sign up, it's going to bring you to the login for Patreon. You're either going to, or not Patreon, Thinkific. You're going to have to create an account. If you don't, you know what, Ken, what's under that, you'll see it says sign in. So once you sign into your account, it'll bring you to the next step. So I know there's confusion on kind of the sign up piece.
Okay. That for the start of the enrollment, the fact that the first place they go is they have to create an account within Thinkific, right?
You're right, but you don't need to create a new email address. You can use your own. Underneath on the bottom, you'll see under the where you enter your password, click sign in. So and Patreon Webinar Wednesday recording, somebody asked about Patreon. Those are not included in the membership. Patreon Webinar Wednesday is separate.
Ken, if you are a patron and you're trying to sign up, yeah, when it takes you to that window, sign up through your Patreon through the same login as you have for Patreon on Thinkific. That's something that we didn't anticipate, April. So if you're having any trouble remembering what your password is, use the recover password feature. If not, send an email to us at info@dottotech.com and we will clean it up.
Great. Sorry. No, Susan. So I have an online. I just went to questions up here. So I put it in questions. Can you see it? I just lost it here. Hold on. She had a question about if it would help her. Oh, so I have an online, here it is. So I have an online business for a while now, but really suck at sales and marketing. Will this be the sort of membership that will help me with those weak points?
Yeah, that's exactly what it's for. Yep, absolutely. You're stuck in. You're stuck. What do I call you? You're a curly. You're stuck exactly where I was for all of that time. Breaking through and finding out what it is you should be working on and where you should be spending your energy. We tend to get into kind of a vicious cycle when we're building content, but we aren't finding success. We will certainly be there to help you break that cycle. And yes, this is designed for you. Somebody's asking about us rethinking the Canadian versus US. We will have an internal conversation. I always try and do something for the Canadian. All of our costs are in US dollars, so that's why we set it up as US. But we will have an internal conversation. We won't. I'm not going to say anything right now, but stay tuned and ask us next week, and we'll see if we can do something around the Canadian dollar versus the US dollar. And certainly, I believe me, I understand the issues, and I'm sensitive to them. Somebody asked a question about whether or not citing it for Webinar Wednesday. Actually, can you remember? Have we included the Webinar Wednesday? I don't think the Webinar Wednesday archives, they're not included. The webinar replays are not included in the membership. They are not. So if you're a patron, you still have access to the Webinar Wednesday. If you're both a patron and you become a member of the Gray Wave, in your one login in Thinkific, when you log in, both will be in your student dashboard. So you'll have an extra field there, which will be the Webinar Wednesdays as well. We occasionally will be taking a little bit of content from Webinar Wednesday and rolling it in, but not access to all of the webinars, because a lot of them are not relevant. A lot of them are productivity. They're just not on point. We've got lots of people joining. We have had several people come on and for an annual membership. I can't tell from my Stripe notification here who you are, but thank you very much for those of you that are signing up. People are coming on. That is awesome.
Marina's asking, I'm a graphic designer with an online portfolio, always had word of mouth business. Don't get questions. Don't get questions. Can this help? So she's asking, yeah, can it help her business?
And you're in the service bucket then. You're in the service bucket. So growing your business. So somebody that's like myself in the knowledge bucket, we're looking for hundreds and tens of thousands of followers and building a big following. People in the service bucket are going to use online marketing very differently, because you don't need hundreds and thousands of followers, but you need dozens of clients. So, so how things scale how you create your content is slightly differently, but a lot of the same principles apply. The way that we use the tools, the way that you communicate, the way that you answer questions, the way that you build your following, a lot of that is still viable. So yes, there's a place for service. If you've already got a great roster of clients and you're really happy with the way things are going, obviously we're not going to be able to help you too much. But if you're looking at scaling your business, if you're looking at becoming more of an outsourcing source, and you're looking at bringing other people on and changing your business model, that then will be able to help you a lot. Farley, have you signed up? Farley's hanging out. Come on, Steve.
One of the questions, and I know that Facebook is always a security for some, so somebody was asking if there's another place for community. So I think I think Steve, you should share about, we really we spent a lot of time looking at community forums that were going to work best for the majority of the community, that we could have regular conversations, that it was easily searchable, that we could also do other things. And all of you know that Facebook is not Steve's favorite place. So that was the last place that he wanted to be, but it works. So
if you have an issue with Facebook and you are bound and determined that you will not have a Facebook account and you won't participate, then it's a disqualifier for you. We just can't deliver the same value to you. The online courses would be useful, the membership area would be useful, but so much value comes through Facebook, and we deliver some of the content. Some of our live streams, our weekly chats and stuff, we use Facebook because it's a very convenient platform. People can view it on their phone. They don't necessarily have to sit down at their computer and that sort of stuff. They can consume it in a variety of different ways. We looked at a lot of different options, and we tested out a lot of different ways to build a community, and Facebook, unfortunately, won. It is the best way for us to do it. Now, I will say that if you do have an issue with Facebook around privacy, et cetera, you could still do you could protect yourself very nicely and have an account that you just used for the gray wave, and you wouldn't have to enter the rest of the morass that is Facebook. And I think that you'd be pretty comfortable with that. But unfortunately,
a ghost Facebook account. So no, you don't have to make any friends, but it's a great way for you to still participate in the community.
Absolutely. Yep.
Somebody asked about the link to the Facebook group. The Facebook group is private. So once you enroll, you get a link to the Facebook group, and you'll be asked a question to provide the email that you signed up for. And we double check and make sure that you're to get access. So it is truly, we have the Gray Zone Facebook group, which is public. The Gray Wave Facebook group is a private group just for members and the membership only.
Dave's asking, will I be disappointed? I use OneNote, Microsoft Office, Outlook, and Zoom. No, we are completely platform agnostic. When we were talking about Evernote, a lot of my past and the success that we had originally came from us teaching people about Evernote. But we are very platform agnostic about which tools you use and which ones we teach. And we use Zoom almost exclusively for a lot of our video conferencing tools. You'll be just fine using those tools. There'll be absolutely no issues with you being a part of the community having used those tools.
All right. There will be a replay sent from today. So I know that some people have been asking that. And let's see.
Oh, several people are asking about one-on-one consultations with me. We certainly do. We don't make it an official thing at this point. You do have office hours with April, and you can certainly request having a conversation with me. You can reach out to me with questions and talk to me. And if it's going to be most efficient for me to help you out by having a conversation, that happens. But that is something that will happen while the community is in its nascent stage and small now. I can't promise that a year from now that one-on-one consultations are going to be available with us if we reach the goals that we're looking for the community. But for now, you can certainly have a conversation with me.
And those coaching, those office hours, just to give you an idea, the coaching sessions. So perfect example, we had somebody in our community that was launching a webinar launch and wanted to use Demio, and I worked with her and we walked through setting up her webinar, and then she did her webinar and she sent me the recording and we did some critiquing. I had another call with somebody that was having some hard times with WordPress, and we kind of jumped into the back end of their WordPress and I gave them some tips on how to, some plugins that would actually help them in what they were trying to accomplish. So just to give you an idea of kind of those office hours.
Christopher, let me try and help you out here. Christopher's asking, so we create an account on Thinkific, we go to the We Are the Gray Wave to purchase it. Let me just do a quick screen share with you guys right now, just to show you kind of the process to sign in and see if I can answer a few questions. So are they getting my screen there?
No, not yet.
Okay.
Nope.
Are you getting it?
Nope.
Oh, there we go. I have to choose Chrome tab. There we go. Getting it now?
Nope.
You're not getting my tab? Oh, there it is. Oh, I see it. It's trying to get it. It's trying to push it up. There it is. There it comes. Ease it up there. Come on, baby. You can do it.
You tired it out.
Squeezing down all of the text. Come on. Really?
One of the questions, so typically we do all of our trainings so our live training, our Q&A, and our community roundtables are done Tuesday at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And our Q&A for Ask Steve Anything on the fourth week is done on Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 12 Pacific Standard Time.
And everything is recorded.
So everything is recorded. Yep.
And we also
calendar in the membership. Sorry.
If you're interested in purchasing, you click on Sign Me Up. You click on the link here, which will take you to a sales page. The sales page, when you go to purchase, you'll enter your information. When you click your purchase, it will ask you to create an account. I can't put all of this information in right now, but it will ask you to create an account. I think it says if you already have an account, sign in here. So you click on the sign in here if you already have a Thinkific account set up. But if not, you create your username and password at that moment, and then it will bring you in. The actual purchase is completed within Thinkific. Thinkific is the engine, is the payment processing system, which does a nice job of tying in, and it uses Stripe as a payment processor. So it should all happen within the Thinkific environment. So you should be into your account as soon as you create that account.
Do you want me to try my screen? Because we can't see your screen, and I think it would be helpful.
It didn't work?
No. So
if you can show it, that would be good.
Share my screen. Let's see.
Yeah, we're only in US dollars, Chris. We don't have euros. We don't have multi-currency at this point.
Okay, so you should.
Yours is working.
All right, so here.
How many emails you have?
We Are the Gray Wave page, and then when you go to purchase, let me in. You'll see the monthly or the annual. So you need to choose one or the other. I mean, clearly you can look at whatever's best for you. Then you go to your sign up. And this is where you're going to see where it says $4.99 on the sales page. It automatically takes off that $100, which is a one-time setup fee. So you will not pay this. You pay this once, and then every month after you pay $99. And you can go and put in your card number. And I don't know if it'll let me.
Yeah, they won't let you pass that. It won't let you pass that.
Okay. So I don't have a card on me. I could kind of, not that I want. But when you go to the next screen, what you're going to see is it's going to say create an account for Thinkific, or at the bottom of the screen, you will see that there is a place. If you already have an account, you can log in. So if you already have a course, if you have Patreon, if you've done any of our free courses, you're going to log in, and then it will let you complete the purchase and give you instant access to, once you log in, you'll actually see a video onboarding that's going to, Steve's going to share you exactly where to go in the membership to get access, and you'll get some emails on joining the Facebook group.
So John's asking, do you need to have the $10 Patreon membership? No, John, it's completely separate from Patreon. If you do have both the Patreon membership and you do join the Gray Wave, when you sign in to Thinkific, you will have both access to the Webinar Wednesday replays, which is a Patreon perk, and the Gray Wave courses. They will all be in your same unified student dashboard.
We do have a calendar feature in the membership, so you can see all the upcoming trainings. And again, the first 3 weeks are always on Tuesday at 3 Eastern Standard Time. The last week is on Thursday at 3. You can easily add it to your calendar. In our Facebook group, I create Facebook events. There's an email that goes out every Friday. It's called the Gray Wave Gazette, where it actually lists out all the upcoming trainings. It lists out things that are going on with our members, some online business tips and more. And so the communication of making sure that you get access to all of our live trainings, you get a ton. We definitely make sure that you have all that information ahead of time.
Veronica wants to know, the replay will be sent to you in a couple of hours. There'll be a replay so you can watch all of the content. Still seems to be some confusion. We got to do a better job. I have to figure out how to do a better job of explaining the purchase process because Sam J is asking, I have the same question. Do you have to have a Thinkific account to sign it for the Gray Wave? No, you don't have to have one in advance. When you sign up for the Gray Wave, when you purchase, your account, your Thinkific account will automatically be created for you. The Thinkific account is free. It's .otech.u. It's our environment. It's our learning management tool. So it just is your account to give you access. Think of Thinkific as a membership site as opposed to anything else. Well, so it'll be created for you. If you already have one, you can recover your password and you could use the existing account, or you could start a new one. And if you do that and you want to have them combined, let us know, and we'll make sure that all of your other Thinkific content from our .otech.u ends up in your new account. But typically speaking, most people will just create a new account as they sign up.
Well, and Sam, you're a Patreon member already, so you should already have access to Thinkific. I'm not sure if that you recognize that it's in Thinkific. So email me at info@otech.com if you're not accessing those replays, because I want to make sure you're in the right place.
Debbie, I am so on board with what you're saying. Mighty Networks is a favorite of mine. I hate Facebook. Debbie, I tried to make Mighty Networks work for us for a community, and there were just a few deal killers within it. If you want to have a conversation about why we chose not to use it, but I signed up for an account. I took the entire training in the enrollment process that Mighty Networks offers. I think they've done a great job. Mighty Networks, by the way, folks, is an alternative that kind of combines Thinkific and Facebook into a single unified interface. There was a lot to like, but it didn't work for us. We tried, but I was very disappointed when I found that when we couldn't make it work. It was just too many limitations for our particular.
It was a 4-to-1, like we can't use this. Yes.
Yeah.
So if you can't make the live trainings, I know I saw some concern there. If you don't make the live trainings, they are all recorded and put in the membership. Actually, the way we actually even do it is that the live training of the module of the month. So for example, we have web design coming up in November. So that actually training module is already live when we do our live training. So it's available immediately. So you'll never miss a training, because if you can't make the live, it's recorded and it's always there.
George is asking, we're building a business web app by subscription to deal with the niche legal market. Is this knowledge or service? I believe that this is a knowledge product. If you're going to be building an app that people are going to load, but you'd use a lot of the same techniques. You're still going to have to create awareness through creating content around it to support it. But definitely it is right within the sweet spot. I would say probably it's more a knowledge product than a service, because you're not actually providing the individual services. However, if you grow into a SaaS product, then it's software as a service. Then it's then it definitely is a service if you start charging people within the product.
Okay,
I don't know if I answered that clearly.
Hans is asking me to go through the pricing one more time. So your initial entrance into the Gray Wave, there is a startup fee, and that covers administrative and setup costs. So even when you go to the landing page, it says $4.99, but it's actually $100 off when you go to checkout. So it's $3.99 startup, and it's $99 a month after there. So if you decide on the monthly plan today, you would pay $3.99, and then next month on November 21st, you'll get charged $99 a month and thereafter until the lifetime of your membership. If you choose annual, you pay $12.99. You'll see $12.99 on the landing page. When you go to the checkout, it's $100 off, and it'll be $11.99 for your first year. After that, it's $9.99, and it's annual renewal on that. So you only pay that setup fee once. And the membership is recurring. And right now we don't take PayPal for recurring, because we are using Stripe as our processor.
Yeah, PayPal doesn't support recurring payments.
Well, it does, but we're just not. That's because
Okay.
It does.
Our PayPal account. So if anybody has any questions that they need a little bit of help on, we'll wrap things up. We're 2 hours into this, and I think that's long enough for any of us. If you have any questions that you specifically want to have answers to, if you drop us an email to info@dottotech.com, I'll get April to put that in. Ask us your questions. If we need to jump on a quick Zoom call with you, we'll do that over the next day or so. So if you're kind of sitting on the fence or you need a piece of advice, we are going to be doing this webinar again, or we're going to be doing it again on Saturday morning. We're going to be delivering it on Saturday morning again, and then we'll be doing one more pass at it the following week. So there'll be more opportunities to ask questions if you choose. You can also always ask us questions in the gray zone. We actually haven't mentioned it, but if you go to Facebook and you go to the gray zone, I'll get April to drop the link in for that as well. There we have a community which is kind of almost like the starter community for the gray wave. It's a community for baby boomers to remain relevant to the online space, and it's our feeder community. And so you can always talk and ask us questions there. We're always monitoring what's going on within there. So you can ask questions in the Facebook group called the Gray Zone. And you have to ask permission to join, but we will admit you to that very quickly. It's a kind of a semi-private group, but it's a nice active group as well. A lot of you might already be members. April, I think we should wrap things up. There's still a lot of questions, but I don't know about you, but I'm exhausted.
Yeah, I just want to make sure, because I know, and actually your feedback today about the confusion of the pricing, I think was super helpful of what we need to change to make it more clear.
Me?
I think we just need to say
Yes.
it's $3.99 because there's lots of confusion.
Okay.
All right. So I think, yes, I think we are good. Thank you so much, guys. Thanks, Steve. That was awesome. And you guys have been wonderful. What a great feedback. I hope you learned some really great stuff. The social blueprint is awesome. And I know you're tired, Steve.
Anybody who's on the fence, reach out to us. We're more than happy to talk to you. I'm going to be looking through all of the chat. Thank you. And thank you for the patience. This was, as we say, this is the first time that we've delivered it. And now we know the areas that we need to provide additional clarity. I hope that my mission of giving you a much better idea of how you fit in the online business world, I hope that I've at least fired, what did I say at the beginning? That you're going to leave this with a fire burning in your belly. I hope that we've inspired you to that. Because it's, I think that in this day and age, we need a little bit of encouragement and something to think positively about it and to move in a positive direction. That's a pretty healthy process for us all. So thank you from the bottom of my heart, April, you guys, and Liz. I know Liz is still online with us. All of those slides, by the way, folks, designed by Liz Aziana, who is our content manager here at Dottotech, and she's also one of the instructors within the community. Just a phenomenal job on that. Thank you much to each and every one of you. Keep your eyes open for follow-up emails from us. Reach out to us if you have any questions. Those of you who have joined the Gray Wave, we are so excited to welcome you on board, and we trust that it is going to be a life-changing decision for you. April, till next time. You know what happens as soon as I hang up? It just shuts down.
You're gonna shut me out. Bye, guys.
Okay.
Have a great afternoon. Thank you.
Till next time. Have fun storming the castle.